All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to nowGurukul ServiceNow Virtual Meetup number 13. Thank you so much for joining on the weekend, Saturday morning, and we'll make sure it is worthy for you. Today we have our keynote speaker, Sameer Kumar Pandey. But just before we start, some ground rules for the meetup that we should take care. So please make sure that you use the chat effectively. This meetup is for you. If you have any questions for me, for the keynote speaker, or anything that is blocking you in your corporate life or your personal life, feel free to use the chat. Do engage and network with the audience at the end for sure. And please be unmuted. If you're not supposed to speak at that time, you can put your questions in the chat as we proceed throughout the session. And of course, be respectful to each other's opinion, comments, and if possible, get on the videos. Let's make it more interactive. Let's get to know each other. That is the whole agenda and motive of this meetup. So, quick thing, what we're going to do today, a quick introduction about the nowGurukul Club, our amazing keynote speaker in the house, and then, of course, we are going to have an open Q&A session among us, and then the closing remarks, and of course, the networking that we're going to do before we wrap up. So nowGurukul ServiceNow Club is just a volunteering initiative, non-profitable, trying to do something on the daily basis, helping each other in the community via different initiatives. If you're connected with us on the social media, you must be wondering there are different team members, club leaders working throughout, and this virtual meetup is one of them. So do join us to see how you can grow 360-degree in terms of as a community, mentoring, technical skills, leadership, public speaking, and we have amazing leaders to support. And we are not bounded to any geography. We are happy to interact and onboard different people from different geographies and all. So thank you so much for being here. Let me just spotlight my keynote speaker of the day. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Sameer Kumar Pandey with us. So, Sameer is a ServiceNow Master Architect with over 2 decades of experience, which includes ITSM, CSM, and GRC. I see some people out there should be around 2 decades of total age of their life. And currently, principal platform architect at ServiceNow. He drives digital transformation, leads customer success initiatives, and mentors new architect. And I'm going to be one of them for sure if Sameer agrees. His career spans leadership across different companies, corporate giants like HCL and Infosys, and today he is sitting at his dream job for sure, which he led large-scale transformation programs and global service now implementation. In the earlier days, 20 years back, he has considerable spent time on the business analysis and improvement consulting using frameworks, ITIL and Six Sigma. The best thing I love about him is that he holds TOGAF certification, ITL V3 expert, which shows that in ServiceNow you don't need only a ServiceNow certification, you need a 360-degree approach to get success. Welcome, Sameer, in the house today.
Happy to be here. I'm fortunate to be in the holiness of about 36 amazing folks. I'm glad I'm here, and I hope I can inspire a few folks and maybe create a difference in your journey with ServiceNow.
Thanks, Sameer. So this is few of them. Many will be watching us post this on our different social media channels like YouTube and ServiceNow community and different forums. So, and thank you so much for taking your valuable time over the weekend for all of us. So, people want to know, Sameer. I was going through your LinkedIn and different posts. I don't see you too much active out there. So people want to know who Sameer Kumar Pandey is. I have given a brief introduction. But Sameer, how did you started? How did you land here? And how's the life going?
Yes, so I started out as a process consultant. You know, New from the college. I was hired by a company in banking domain, but primarily my job was into process. And I had no idea about a corporate world and what difference my work is actually you know, has on the overall uh, business outcomes, right? So I was just laying one brick on top of other as was my roles and responsibility, right? Without realizing the impact of what I'm doing. And that was not a good state to be in. So I got a lot of feedbacks from my mentors, my managers, my peers, my customers, and that created a difference in my life. I started looking at things differently. I started to understand the process much better. For example, back then it was ISO 9001 certification that I was helping for, or CMI certification. Some of you would be working towards that as well, or maybe may have heard about it. Six Sigma. Uh, so my interaction with ServiceNow happened in 2011. Back then, I started with Aspen release, and you know, for me, that was a different thing altogether because you could access platform over the cloud anywhere you are in, and I was coming from BMC Remedy and HP Service Desk, HP Service Center world, and you had to have a server, which was relaying, and then you could access those applications through a client installables, right? So for me, it was, or sometimes even through web browser as well, but moreover, it was client server setup, and something that could be accessible anywhere from across different geos, and something that was available always was a new thing for me, right? So yeah, and then over a period of time, I mean, I contribute my success to my customers who have made a lot of mistakes, and then thankfully to my customers and my PA developers or the architects that I worked with or my managers. I mean, they have never looked those mistakes in the wrong way. So I always believe in fail first, fail fast, which mean and never to repeat the same mistake. So if you are repeating the same mistake, which means that you are not essentially learning from your mistake. So always make mistakes in your personal development instance, and never ask for help. Right? I mean, community is there. Back then, community was very small. You had to really do a lot of research to find what you're looking for. And now community is very strong, so never ask for help. Never feel shy of asking. Sorry.
Yeah, I hear that, Smear, and sounds like quite an interesting journey. And people like you making community more strong. I remember I reached out to you, and you were like, "Yes, I will contribute as much as I can for the community out there." So, Sameer, like you have been working for ServiceNow for many years. Like I would say, you started in 2011, so it's around 14 odd years now, right? So what was your that moment, when you made realize that okay, this platform is something I'm going to stick for life? Because you have started with process, you must have seen different tools like BMC and different other platforms, right? Sticking to service now, what was that moment, you made it okay, this is going to bring something in the industry and for yourself also.
So reflecting back on a decade long journey, uh, I won't say it is just one aha moment or one qualifying moment which changed the factor. There have been many. Uh, So back when I started, I mean, ServiceNow was just I that was my impression of ServiceNow, which was it's another IT ticketing platform or ITSM platform that is accessible over the cloud, which definitely was one of the aha moment. But my first aha moment came over something that attracted me towards ServiceNow was how you could automate and go beyond ITSM. You could automate business flows, end-to-end business processes, and look at cut across different streams like employee workflows or IT, facilities, or GRC, and so on. Right? That's when I realized it was not just about the tickets itself. It is about connected experience and drive the business outcomes or decision making, automate those decision makings. Uh, so realization that it is not just a tool, it is enterprise platform for workflow orchestration automation that made my life, made me stick to ServiceNow. These days, I think I take aha moments when I see that something that I recommended or I was part of journey has actually started to meet outcomes, customer going live and then realizing to see value of it. That makes a lot of difference and continues or motivates me to stick to, keep working.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally understand, Samir, and nowadays we say that and in any enterprise, service now can go anywhere. I know it is going everywhere in every domain
yeah,
and every process. That is the power of that. So Samir, I think many folks in our community are kind of starting their career or let's say 3 to 5 years of experience, folks who are still finding their way. Uh, People are quite confused, because as you said, previously it used to be only ITSM, Now there are tens of modules out there, Then you have platform capabilities. Then there's a pressure of AI also into the picture, right? So somebody who is starting their career or in the initial stages of career, what do you recommend should be the right approach to get into this platform to master it, right? So I don't go with your credentials that you are a certified master architect. Of course, that's a huge thing. But of course, you have spent a lot of time in the industry, Samir. So you have done those mistakes, I believe, right? So what is
yeah.
your recommendation, Samir, for those people?
Yes, so first thing is always look at the docs, go through now learning courses. Those are great. Look at podcasts or vodcasts like, for example, now Gurukul, or there's so many contributors out there. In fact, we have ServiceNow podcast channels, official channels as well, or YouTube channels. Look at that. There are so many folks who write a lot of blogs, write a lot of content there, or post videos. Just today, I was looking at YouTube about a release ops feature that was launched, and how that will make a difference in terms of how you are making releases into or pushing your features into production. So always keep yourself up to date. Now, in terms of common mistakes that I see, or let me first touch upon how you should. What are some of those watch out for areas? Right? For example, things like how data is structured in different tables, how field relationships are there without this, everything else feels like complex, right? How different table schemas are organized. That will help you understand whether you have to create new fields out there. Do you have to personalize that schema or change that schema? Look at the workflow flow designer, which is the new ways of working. Learn to automate, have a PDI. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have personal development instances. Try to go through developer.servicenow.com. Look at the share community out there where people contribute free of cost. Out of their willingness, they share their code, they share their update sets for you to consume. One of the very known, I think, update set out there feature is add to update set feature, right? I mean, a lot of us are using, a lot of customers are using it. It was contributed free of cost by somebody, right? So out there, acknowledge those things and try to get inspiration from those. There's so many countless members who contribute. Never be shy of asking for help. Then also understand the UI UX basics. For example, how forms, lists, experience are there. We are moving from native UI more and more into workspaces, which is going to support Gen AI features, which is going to support so many connected features, for example, Teams integration and so on. Right? So try to see if you can develop your skills into workspaces. Uh, and furthermore, I see a lot of developers, or in fact, customers asking developers to have so many fields in the form, and then and that makes form heavy. A lot of heaviness is there in terms of because you have, let's say now, 30 odd new fields on the form, you will end up having validations, client scripts, or your policies to have those validations in place. And in that journey, you are making or artificially designing performance debt, because obviously those scripts or policies are going to run on the client side, right? So essentially, we are creating a debt by introducing that was never there, right? So can we push back? And if that field is not needed, if that field is not going to have interaction with the user, does it need to be on the form? Ask those questions. If user need not interact with that field, possibly that is good to be on the list, but not on the form, right? That ways your interaction or uh, with that form is going to be very, very sleek, easy. So try to understand the basics, go through courses. In a nutshell, if I have to go back again, so go through courses, now learning courses, read the docs, look at community, ask for help. Never be shy of asking for help. One other thing which is very core is when you do Google, a lot of times the first hit that will come may be a post that was created in 2015 or 2012. That may not be relevant today. The best practices always evolve, or leading practices always evolve, right? So what was right for 2015 may not be right in today's world. So look for a better way for it, right? Always go through a couple of posts before making a decision on which approach you're going to take if you're asking for help.
Yeah, thanks, Samir. While listening to you, I feel that a strong process guy speaking, who's challenging the right requirements out there when you are speaking about form and the things. So as we move on, I will take some questions from the chat and then I will move to my next question. Uh, so people are looking for some quick mentoring, Samir, out there. So what is the way I had to grow as per you if somebody has 8 years of experience in ServiceNow functional analyst and ITSM consultant? They should move towards development or techno-functional, and what kind of certifications that they look for? Any suggestions on that?
So answering it is like what is better, apple or orange?
Yeah, I agree.
So you go where your heart beats for, right? Um, so if you want to see yourself 10 years down the line going into an architect area, then possibly you might want to start with the development background, and then over a period of time. I mean, and having multitude of experience or flavor doesn't bite. So, for example, I started out as a functional consultant, and then when I got challenged by a developer, so I was in a very peculiar situation. I was consulting for a customer. Uh, Essentially, I had no idea about the technicalities or the effort it will take to set up a catalog form. Because I would gather the requirement, give it to my developer, and then developer would give me a date. Let's say 15 days it will take for a form with 10 fields, one approval, one task. And then I would go back to the customers, tell, hey, what, Mr. Customer, it will take 15 days. And essentially, my customer and my developer realized that I was no more than a postman or mailman.
Agree.
And my job was essentially not required, because it would have been great if they would have talked directly, right? And that was a very weak spot to be in for me. So essentially, I started to learn the development side of it so that I can be a better functional consultant. I can challenge my not just my customer but also my developer, not in terms of why it would take them, but for me to also understand why does it take them that much of effort, or can there be can I share some responsibilities? Right? Can I make life easier? Can I cut down on
Mm.
those line of questioning between me and my developer and make life easier for my developer as well so that it takes lesser time? So my reflection back on this question is do what your heart beats for and have a long-term strategy where you want to go for. Maybe when you close your eyes, what do you think yourself becoming in another 10 years? That and always read documentation. Whether you are a functional consultant or whether you are a developer, uh, have a bent of mind and have that core knowledge. If even if you are, let's say, developer, what would make a difference is not just knowing ServiceNow scripting, but also knowing the fundamentals of development, right kind of development, uh, methodical development. For example, not everything. For example, if your code is going more than maybe 100 lines of code, is it the right way to write the code, or maybe I should write a script include, and maybe if I see there are going to be reusable components, should I create a utils library like a script include and then call those methods there and then maybe create an abstract, maybe hide those complex calculation in script include and then call those in there, right? So how do I make my uh, execution vis-a-vis the first interface with the code easier? I'm not sure if I
No,
answered the
thanks a lot,
question.
Samir, for detailed explanation. I totally, I always resonate with that thought that no module in ServiceNow is good or bad, no job role is good or bad. It all depends what you want. That the right statement that you use,
Exactly.
what your heart beats out there is important, right? So, next question for you, Samir. Good to know you entered into ServiceNow in 2011. Curious to know when did you complete your ServiceNow CMA? How was your journey out there, Samir? And I think more importantly, I also want to understand uh, what happens after you become a CMA. That is something because I'm also thriving in my career, right? But what my boss says, right? It's not only about the certification, right? It's all about what you do after that. So, Samir, what is your take on that?
So I pursued CMA in the batch of 2021 EMEA batch. Uh, I was with Infosys at the time when I entered this batch, and amazing folks, amazing cohort. Uh, so what this course essentially requires is that you have at least minimum of CSA, CAD certification, as well as more than two, uh, in where CIS, ITSM is sort of mandatory, but then more than two CIS certifications, or at least three CIS certification, out of which CIS, ITSM is important. So you have these are the prerequisite, and then you should have some. There are some uh, desired certifications or knowledge, for example, like a foundation. If you have TOGAF certification, that helps. Uh, then you get into this batch where you go through how do you communicate with leaders. So, for example, if you're presenting the architecture, how do you interact with enterprise architect? Uh, how do you address what's in for them? How do you interact with CIO and then communicate or take a stand on the architecture? How to design the architecture in the right way? This course is not about, or this program is not about be a better developer, because that is assumed that you will possess that skill, and that is why you are entering into this program. This is for people who are aspiring to be the architects and be able to hold that position and uh, be able to design better architectures. So from that point of view, if you think that that is where you want to be, then complete the prerequisites, apply for uh, the CMA application. Also try to address what is that you are going to bring to the table. That is going to be very core important thing aspect of your application. Uh, how would cohort actually benefit from your being in there in that cohort?
Yeah. Thanks, Smith. Thanks for your mentoring. So Sameer, there is one a general question I get, on my LinkedIn also and from different people, and somebody has put in the chat as well. And I think you are the right person to answer it because somehow you did the same thing in your career, right? You have, let's say, 10, 12 years of experience in your career in different domains, and you are working as a, let's say, project manager for different tools, right? And you might be having simple process knowledge for ITL things, right? So if they're looking forward to transition into service now, right? So people are generally confused, even after 13 or 14 years experience, that shall we enter as a developer, shall we enter as a BA, or shall we a service now project manager should be okay. So Samir, what is your take for those set of people who are at mid age of their career and trying to transition into service now?
It is not tough to make a switch after considerable time. I mean, again, it is like answering which is
Hmm.
better, apple or orange, right?
Agree.
So it's not tough to actually switch as long as you build your foundation really strong. So if you think that you love coding, that is what you want to aspire for, then yeah, you can enter at any point of time. I've seen people making a switch after or getting into project management, uh, after serving in military, taking a retirement and then getting into project management, and they've been amazing project management managers. I've seen people becoming facility heads after serving in military or being in a different firm altogether, different industry altogether. So it depends if that is what you aspire for. Try to start with a solid foundation. Try to understand the core concepts of development before picking up JavaScripting. Even in JavaScripting, there are so many concepts around, for example, promises or how to do exception handling, so on. Try to understand those concepts and then try to apply those. Have your personal PDI, explore those concepts. Again, never be shy of asking for help. Pursue those now courses. Now courses these days are on demand, are free. So
Yeah.
go ahead and get your hands dirty. If you break anything in your personal PDI, personal instance, nobody's going to ask you. You can always spin up a new one, right? So zboot it and play around again.
Yeah. Thanks.
There's
Thanks,
no
Samir.
judgment. There's nobody to judge you in your personal. That is your playground.
Agree. Agree. So, Sameer, I think this is the question coming from my heart, right? So I have also worked with a service based in company in my past, in the initial 6 to 7 years of my career, and I see your career map also, mostly with SIs, right? And now sitting in a product-based company. So, what the right mindset shift needs to require right there, right? Because I have seen in mine, when I switched my job role in a different company, there's a different culture, different ways of working, something good, something bad, something different, right? But having extensive experience in SIs and then getting a dream job in service now, right? So how the mindset shifted, or you were able to manage yourself better during the SIs itself?
No, I think there are different challenges when you are in working with a system integrator organization like the ones I've had in my journey, or you, uh, and a lot of you also, and then working with the parent organization or the product organization itself, where the product is coming from, right? So what I see classically as a difference was when I was there, I used to look for, and I made those mistakes as well, that whenever some requirement will come and the customer is very insistent on some particular ways of working, right? Then a classical way, at least that is true for Indian upbringing, conditioning, is that customer, whenever they say, I have to oblige and I have to do that. Even when I know that requirement doesn't make sense, maybe there is a better way to do it. My uh, thought process is always try to uh, you know uh, have that conversation with the customer, try to explain the better way to do it. Okay, just because it is, and customers love it. and the mistakes that I've made in my past is never to actually reason back with customer and maybe oblige to that. And that is where one of the mistakes, a couple of times I've made those mistakes. Okay? Until I was told about the right way to reason back with the customer. And customers love it. I mean, they love to have a different thought process. Uh, so that is one core mistake that at times we, in effort to please a customer or make that happiness happy, create that happy moment, right? We lead them into a way path of failure. So I would suggest that look at a broader picture, uh, look at the success or outcome, long-term outcome and success, and that will create everlasting happiness or everlasting relationship with your customer or the business that you work. The challenge that comes with working with ServiceNow when I joined from SI into ServiceNow is that people expect that I should know everything because I'm on the other side of the table and I don't know everything. Back then as well, I never didn't know everything. So but I have to match it to that expectation. So, and a lot of my colleagues also run into that situation. And benefit of working with ServiceNow is that I know I'm in the community of my peers who are from product teams or from solution architecture who happen to help and provide their support. Right? But then still, I have to depend upon a lot of times the community articles or by some people who are from SI. For example, I read a lot of books, and one of those books that I'm reading is by Tim Woodruff. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know him. He's an amazing contributor. Uh, and I'm reading his book, ServiceNow Development Handbook, and I recommend everyone to buy a copy and then so it is just, even if you are a seasoned developer, uh, you would love this book because it takes you through a journey from the basics to the architecture mindset. So that has been the core difference of working in SI, making those mistakes to now, having people expecting that I know everything, which I don't. It is still a journey.
Thanks a lot,
I think some
Sameer,
of
for
you would also be
yeah.
going through the same
Agree,
experience,
agree.
right?
I'm able to relate, when you're speaking. Nowadays, the culture is shifting now. Now client doesn't expect that, if they think they want X and you get X by anyhow who can crook, right? Uh, they love to get challenged. They love to get asked the right questions, and if you can give them a better way of doing the things, right? Or I think more than that, people also are looking to improve their processes also, right? Whichever their current, not only about the service now technical stuff. Okay, talking about the product, Samir, we have some questions. So, how do you see vibe coding changing the role of ServiceNow developers, especially those who are already know scripting and architecture? Should we adapt our skills in specific direction?
Yeah, this is a wonderful question. See, even if you're doing vibe coding, for those who don't know what vibe coding is, so utilizing, let's say, the GPTs for generating the code for you, right? And you prompting the GPT. But understand that still has to be you who should be in control, not the GPT. Okay. So GPT would depend a lot of times on the ways you are prompting. You are asking for a business logic in a specific way. So which means that a lot of times when GPT actually generates a garbage code, it has actually considered your logic to define it, right? So which means that you still are responsible for that code. So it depends upon how you actually prompt. And also, second part is that is a skeleton code that has come out. Okay, so we always recommend that human in this is a better approach for coding, vibe coding. So a lot of times you would notice that there is unnecessary code or there is unnecessary logic that is there. You could further optimize it. And a lot of times GPTs hallucinate because you would also hear this term, which is uh, generative AI is probabilistic approach, not a deterministic approach, which means that there is a path in which GPT runs, and it will take that path, shortest and rewarding route, and get you a solution. It will generate that code and give it to you, right? There are challenges in getting a right solution at times. For example, not related to coding, but if you go into, let's say, any of the chat GPTs or Gemini or Grok for that matter, Perplexity, any of those things, and if you ask a question, let's say, generate image of a clock with time as 6:04, okay, you would, and I would want everybody to see if they can open up their browser and then do that. Generate a image of the clock with time 6:04. Okay, you would notice that most of the time it will give you an image of the clock with time as 10:10, not 6:04, not 5:10, but 10:10. And the reason is the training data it has got. Most widespread image on the internet today is 10:10 or 9:15. Okay, so the training data it has got, that is generating a result, and it has got a confidence that that is what you probably want, right? So again, it is not a deterministic approach. So when you translate that experience into coding, my reasoning is that you still would be responsible for the code. You still are defining that code. Use VB vibe coding to get a skeleton of it, uh, but don't use asses at times. Okay, and when in doubt, use Now Assist or Code Assist, because that is trained for Now platform.
Yeah, thanks, Samir. I think when Chuck Tomasi was here, he said the same thing, that use this as your assistance, but not as your replacement, and that's how you can, get into a right thing and at your job, right? Samir, one personal question, okay, and this is where I struggle a lot. ServiceNow platform keeps evolving. New
Yeah.
modules, new releases, new news, new blogs. There's a lot and lot of content, and that is the best thing about this tool is that when I started learning ServiceNow back 5 6 years back, you know the best thing about this platform is that you had ample of sources to learn, right? But with time, it is becoming overwhelming as well. So how do you personally stay current, Sameer? And what habits that you have in personal or corporate life or resources we know what we have, right? But how to avoid feeling overwhelmed of this platform pace, especially for previously we used to talk only about the platform features with the modules. Now this AI is also coming. So how do you keeping up in the last 2 3 years, Samir, especially when they have expanded so much in different products?
Yeah. So when in doubt, reach out. Or when in doubt, seek help. I mean, this is not just a question for ServiceNow, but for any other platform, for example, Google or AWS or any other platform or framework offered as a service, right? So overwhelming can be a real situation. I get overwhelmed as well at times, and knowing everything is immediately is very impossible. So there are so many people who are contributing. Like I said, I mean, I just recently watched a video by one of the colleagues, and that was posted on LinkedIn by another colleague, Daniel Derez, uh, about release ops feature, which was released recently. And I was not aware about it. So, which means that there are so many, so always be realistic that you and have that grounded nature that there are going to be moments where you'll not have an answer for it. There are going to be moments where you are not going to know about it, and that's the most that's the best situation to be in, right? Being modest and humble, and then start from there. Learn about, look for people who know about it, and then uh, then you will start to learn about it. If you have that uh, already that mindset that you have arrived at some juncture, or you are already knowing so much about it, then that pressure can be enormous. uh, Read a lot of books, Like I mentioned, this book, it is amazing. Learn about other areas as well. For example, knowing about ServiceNow feature about DevOps, DevOps velocity, or release ops, and so on. That is one part of it. But what is DevOps? What is SRE? Why DevOps is needed? What is Git? And Git existed much before ServiceNow existed, right? So why Git is necessary? Why versioning is necessary? Why source control? What is the science behind source code, source control, and so on? That will make you different uh, from a hobbyist development to an enterprise grade development. That is the journey that you will take if you understand the base science behind it, the faculty or the domain behind it. For example, somebody who is good and great developer, right? So somebody who is, let's say, starting their journey in, let's say, GRC and IRM, now integrated risk management. So there is the three primary modules: policy and compliance, then risk, and then audit, and so on. And then there are some other realms as well. For example, operational resiliency, BCP, and so on. Now, but the point is, are you a developer who is transitioning from ITSM and applying the same concepts in GRC? Probably that that a lot of us will transition like that. But I think the right approach would be to also understand what is GRC? Why organizations need GRC? What is a control? What is risk? What is a business risk and why GRC is needed to save that? What is SOX? What is NIST framework? So if you understand, and a lot of those public articles or public courses, free courses are available. So read those things. A lot of Udemy courses are available. I'm not advertising any particular platform, but what I'm trying to say is read those things, and that will keep you abreast on the faculty or that domain. And then augmenting that with ServiceNow will make you just amazing, unstoppable.
Great insights, Sumir, on that. And I think there are a lot of questions around AI, Gen AI in the chat as well. And I believe the same methodology goes there as well, right? Now, people are
Totally.
thriving to, I will not say learn AI, just implement AI in service now, where you might need to focus back on the basics of AI first, outside service now, and then go ahead and use Now Assist, right? So, Samir, how did you pick AI, when of course I believe you are not doing it from the start, but when it came in your job demands or your interest demands, what was your approach in getting onto the AI ship?
Yes, so my experience with AI started with first with one of my customer going live, in Gen AI. And the first ask was, we have invested in ServiceNow and specifically Gen AI, and let's utilize this. And they want to go with enterprise-wide with a lot of their end users using virtual agent. And that's a great place to be in because then you make that Gen AI feature available to all of your end users and then let virtual agent handle those conversations through generative AI. So that's when my exposure to Gen AI started. I knew about Gen AI feature existing, but now it's just on virtual agent, or as we call it, Nava. I did not have experience earlier, so it's just last year December is when I started to learn about it. And one thing led to others, so I enrolled in courses first to understand the basics behind it. So ServiceNow, not ServiceNow, but other courses about the basics of machine learning, basics of generative AI, how that Markov's theory, and so on, how that theory works out, and how statistics is utilized in all of that calculation, and so on. Why is probability theory utilized, and so on. So once I understood how that works, rest of understanding of Now Assist and skills and uh, those things became easier. Rest is just extending those skills or utilizing those skills in your scripts or in our assist. So I would suggest build your foundation strong. Look for and also we also as an employee we also have to take now learning courses. That is mandatory for us. So we have to keep upskilling as well. So for now, there are a lot of courses available. There is a community that is very going very strong. uh, some of my use cases are when I run into challenge, I look for community. If there is no community article, I reach out to some of the folks that I know who have done some work. I reach out to them personally on their DMs, and then if I get a response, that is great. That makes my life easy. Otherwise, then I start to dig into the Nava scripts that are there, and then see how I can extend a similar kind of feature. For example, I'm probably digressing from the main question, but let me know if folks are still interested. So one of the point was ServiceNow, when you're integrating with teams, the chat summarization that doesn't happen automatically when you are, let's say, creating an incident. Okay, so for example, there is a team spot that triggered a chat from an agent, from a user, and that has come to interaction or service operation workspace. And then uh, when agent is working and trying to create an incident, automatically those summarizations are not happening. So expectation is that I would summarize or I would do something about it, or I would fill some summarization things. So how do I automate that part? Now, chat summarization skill is available out the box. Can I extend that and then automate some part of it in the create incident UI action? Can I have some flavor of it? So those are some of the things that you can do even without knowing now assist. Those features are available. Uh, so customizing again, customization versus configuration, those differences are very should be clear. But then for now assist specific journey, build your foundation first on now assist, and then take courses on now assist. Or
Thanks, Samir. Great insights. Maybe last two questions from my side, and then we wrap up. Though I don't want to, and there are a lot of questions in the chat. But considering we give you some weekend off, so Samir, we say that we cannot manage time. So my question is, how do you manage yourself, especially in Indian culture where we give a lot of importance to friends, relations, so busy life, family is there, job is there, upskilling is there, and I hope you show you some hobbies as well, right? So Samir, how do your day or week looks like? Because that is something I think most of
yeah,
us struggle. If I start learning today, I kind of prioritize that only, and then my maybe job or family goes for a toss. Then if I come here, then my learning goes for a toss. So, what's the key for that, Locke?
so that happens with me regularly. I'll be honest. But most of my time actually spent outside of work is spent with my kids. Let's say solving a polynomial equation or and then also keeping up to date on their subjects because ultimately they have to look up to me. I still want to be their idol as long as I can. So knowing answers to what next question could be is a real challenge. So I try to keep myself up to date on uh, mathematics or although I've been a mathematics student, but it's tough at times. You forget things. So if you're not in practice, so I try to utilize my time working with my kids, reading stories with them or reading novels with them. It might be a kid's novel, but then I love reading those or watching cartoons, watching movies. I'm a superhero comic book fan.
Okay.
So any of the Marvel movies or DC movies, I generally love watching with my kids. Uh, yeah, yeah, or listening to songs, a lot of songs.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's the stress buster, right out there, Samir. So, okay, Samir, before we wrap, last question from my side. What is your advice for the aspiring architects out there? And why I'm asking this question is, that from your conversation, I have learned one thing that okay, only sticking to service now is not enough, and sticking to only one job role is not enough, right? And as you have TOGAF certified and different Six Sigma, ITIL, you know so, what is your recommendation? And I am one of those architects out there, right? But somehow, somewhere, I struggle. Staying to service now is something. I'm not able to give my 100% to the customer back, right? And I want to expand. And TOGAF is something which is in my next to-do list as well, Samir. So, what's your advice there?
So I'll give four advice probably. So one is over customization. Okay. So a lot of times we are in a hurry to modify out the box tables or scripts, and that is not bad always. Okay? But there has to be balance into is it the right way to do it? That is one. Second thing is, does it create a business value? So what we recommend is doing a business smart customization. So it is, if it is serving a greater purpose, if the problem is real, then do it and discuss with your architect, or try to understand there is if there is a better way to do. If you read this book by Tim Woodruff, there is a quote there, I think, which says, "There's almost always a better way to do it." So almost
Right.
always. Okay, I mean, you might reach a point where you can't do it, improve it, but almost always there is a better way to do it. So you could avoid probably those customizations, right? You could possibly try to do it through configuration. Always also watch out that if it is configuration, that may also not be amazing configuration. That may also run into loop of infinite loops, right? You could write a no-code business rule which can execute infinitely, right? So my point being, uh, have that you know inquisitive mind to look for whether there is a better way to do it, and avoid only customization if it is not serving a greater purpose. It has to deliver a greater business value. Second mistake is typically when we ignore the process behind the platform. So it's not always just building forms and workflows. It is about enabling the business outcomes, ultimately empowering the business users. So some at times when we jump directly into scripting without understanding the process behind it or process we are automating, we end up building elegant solution to wrong problems, right? We are trying to solve some problem which probably should never have existed, that requirement that should have never existed. For example, one example that I quote is, for example, one of my customers wanted to have reports delivered with emails, and they were running to a complex email script to build that report and deliver over email. My reasoning is, why do you want report to be delivered on emails when there is always a dashboard that is there? Encourage your customers to look at log into dashboard, where we should be moving out of as much as email clutter and stop bothering users with so many emails delivered to them, right? Whenever they need that dashboard, real-time information will be available in the dashboard. Email delivered at the end of the day is will be looked or referred next day morning. That report becomes stale.
Exactly.
Instead, they should be encouraged to look at the dashboard. So we are trying to solve a problem. We are trying to develop a solution for a wrong problem, right? So always try to reason out those things. Then is poor data discipline. So, like for example, inconsistent naming convention, duplicate records, and then that is a common place, right? Missing relationships, or trying to have your own set of location records because let's say CMN look, or maybe because CMN location, I'm not aware about that location table, and I'm trying to circumvent something and build my own location table, right? Or confused Just because business throws, let's say one of my customer had this requirement of business enabling units. Now, and the development team around it, they ended up creating a custom table for business enabling unit. And my point was, how would you maintain this data? And what is business enabling unit? Is it similar as business units? And the response was, yes, this is similar to business units. And my point is, then why not use business underscore unit table? Why are you creating another table for it, which is not going to be maintained? There is going to be data redundancy, right? So some of those factors will help you make sure that there is a strong data discipline or strong data governance uh, imbibed, and you would end up having lesser data debt, poor data maintenance. And last is having the documentation for a developer and for architect. You have to emphasize on strong version control or documentation. Never uh, be a servant of your memory. Never rely on your memory that this is stored in soft copy. Because always develop or do documentation with the belief that if your future self does a time travel and ends up meeting you, which is going to be paradox, but if they end up meeting you, then would they be proud of you? Today's you, right? And that is what you should be looking for when you're writing a code, when you're writing or building a logic or doing documentation. Always have a solid documentation. Utilize, there's so many ways to use Visio, use Lucidchart, use plain text, but have those sequence diagrams or class diagrams or those logic setup. Don't first jump into writing script. Have that dry code there, dry algo there. That is always great. Even if you are doing a vibe coding, always have that approach of at least have your logic layer, what you want AI to actually generate for you. Uh, don't just give them business problem because then chances are that you are going to run into hallucinated code. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
thanks a lot,
yeah,
Sam. Yeah.
and that will differentiate you from a hobbyist developer
Hmm.
to a enterprise grade developer, solving real business outcomes or getting business outcomes. Yeah, please.
Thanks a lot, Sameer, for the amazing insights. I don't hesitate to say that one of the best conversation I had in my Now Gurukul community as of now. I really appreciate, first of all, agreeing to come and spare your valuable time over the weekend with us. And I wish to give the rest of the time to you and your kids to see those cartoons and the novels again, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, Sameer is really helpful. You can reach out to him over LinkedIn for any help and any questions in future. Samir, would love to host you again in future for maybe on
Definitely.
different topic or some different subject. I really, really, really appreciate and thank you from the bottom of my heart, Samir. Thank you so much for being here with us,
It is
man. Thank you.
likewise, likewise. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Kevin, for hosting me.
Thanks, Samir. Looking forward to meet you sometime in this life. Yeah.
All the best, guys. Bye.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that note, we come to almost end of meetup, but let's see what we can do. If you're not connected to us on our social media channels, feel free to scan this barcode. It will take you to my WhatsApp, and I would add you to the group. And you can always reach out to me over LinkedIn or different channels. And I have a team with us which will also support you. All right. So before we wrap up, anybody wish to interact, share what you do in your life from where you are, anything cool that you're working on in your project, in your corporate, in your personal life, any personal projects? I would love to know you in person for sure. I think we all have to know each other in that perspective. Anybody in the house? Or do you have any questions which I or somebody from the team can answer maybe on basis of their experiences? If yes, you can unmute yourself. Okay, Vishal is putting a question. I am an undergraduate student who has cleared CSA CAD. What kind of entry-level role should I look at? My dream is to get into such a company. I think everybody's dream is to get into ServiceNow company for sure, Vishal. Which skill module I should focus on my profile? Are this company hire freshers directly for? All right. So Vishal, I will be very honest with you. Okay. Uh, yes, you are on the right track. Okay. It is really great that during your undergraduation you are doing the certifications and all that stuff. But trust me, when getting a job interview will be difficult, but will not be that difficult. The major thing lies that once you get an interview, how you're performing in those 30 and 40 minutes is the question, right? To be very frank, certifications helps you in building your profile. Certifications helps you in getting shortlisted for the interviews. But when you come to an interview space, and let's say I am your interview, I'm going to ask you certain questions, right? Let's say I ask you 10 questions. If you're able to satisfy me on, let's say, 6, 7 questions, I might consider you. What I'm trying to say here is that knowledge matters. Okay. So make sure that whatever you are learning, as Samir was also mentioning, you are learning to the core, you are learning to the fundamentals of it, and be hands-on. Okay. The one thing I want to suggest you, like if you're at a student level that you are trying, there are different companies who hire freshers. You can search over LinkedIn, you can ping me, we can talk around it. Uh, you should make some projects, right? Let's say if I'm getting a resume of two freshers, and one fresher is CSA CAD, other is also CSA CAD, and okay, normal stuff. But the other person has done five projects, five personal projects, right? Uh, be it one on ITSM or one on GRC or something. And it can be replica of your now learning courses also, right? Whatever labs that you. So think on that, try to build your own projects, try to build a strong profile and knowledge, and of course, I hope you will get the right opportunity out there, Vishal. If you have any doubts, you can always speak to me on person. All right. Anybody else? You can speak also. You can unmute and speak. I'm here for next 2, 3 minutes. Okay, I take that as a no. Thank you so much for joining in this virtual meetup. We'll meet next time, and we will also start getting into more hands-on demos from the next meetup onwards. I would like to encourage you guys, if you wish to present in this meetup with your knowledge, it can be as small as just explaining what is a GRC workflow, what is HRSD workflow. It can be theoretical, it can be practical. Just let me know. Let's share knowledge among each other, and we
Hi,
grow
Gagan.
there. Yeah, hello.
Sorry to interrupt you
No
in
worries.
between.
No worries. Let's talk.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Actually, myself working as a
Your voice is breaking. Okay, and you have not renamed yourself, right? So I cannot.
yeah, I updated a feature in that. I created an Angular and Spring Boot app in which I got a chance to implement that to generate a dynamic PDF like invoice. As similar in that PDF, it can take data from the database like the project name, the allocation, installment, how much the project amount, address, email address. And as per on the join, I got a project ID and again join it and get the data from the another table and I had displayed it and view in a model and all. So these are the things that I had done recently in my company, in my project. And this is an individual task. I don't get any help from the senior and at all
What's your
because
name?
this is a government.
What's your name? Sorry, I
Yeah,
can't read.
Gaurav Saxena.
Okay, Gaurav, would you like to share this knowledge with us in our next meetup, or maybe a
Yeah, of
demo
course.
or talk?
But
Yeah.
yeah, my question is regarding that. Like in this meetup. Like for the ServiceNow, it can helpful to switch to in ServiceNow because as we see the current market situation is very bad today. Okay, lots of layoffs come behind the scene and nobody talking about that because I am also laid off from Cognizant in 2023. So I am the live example of that. If anyone says there is no layoffs and all. Okay. So, is ServiceNow safe for the future, or in this meetup, what we learn in future and how we get inside in a product that is ServiceNow? So that's I need to know.
Yeah, I understand your point, but what is your exact question here, Gaurav?
Actually, I have a zero knowledge about ServiceNow. I
Okay.
got a link. I think I applied over the LinkedIn. I think you
Okay,
posted over.
understood. Understood. So, Gaurav, I think you are kind of talking about how do I get started into service now with the perspective of landing into a right job, right? So, I can
Correct.
give you a high level talk here, but then you can book a one-to-one session with me where I can mentor you, right? So you can ping me on WhatsApp. I will
Mm-hmm.
share my booking link with you. So basically, in order to start with service now, there are some foundations, right? So of course, you start with your now learning, your CSA, your CAD, and all that stuff, right? And it's also important that you know what role you are trying to get started, right? So if you're trying to get started as a developer, and if you have some development background, so JavaScript will be required. So there is a basically a path to it. Okay, there is no shortcut that okay you do one, two, three things and you get a job, right? So there is a path that you need to follow, and of course it will take some time. And I have helped a few people driving that path for them, and they're in the right jobs as of now. So let's talk one to one, and I will try to help you out there
Sure.
because it will take. I need to understand your whole entire background from where you are, what you had done till now, what is your current knowledge, understanding, and from where we will go further, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. In the interest of time, thank you so much for joining in. We meet in our next meetup and we stay connected on our social media channels. Let's keep learning and keep rocking in our respective areas. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Have we